From closed schools to total lockdown to continuing normal life, in this video we are going to talk about coronavirus measures in different countries all around the world. Buenas tardes everybody and welcome to another video on my channel. I am Chrisi and I just returned from my semester abroad in Spain, so I'm back in Germany at the moment, and really following the news of those both countries I couldn't help but realize the different strategies of Spain and Germany in stopping the spread of this coronavirus. And really not only Spain and Germany, but really there's a lot of different countries and a lot of different strategies. So for this video I thought it might be interesting to take a look at them. We're going to take a look at the United States, China, Italy, Netherlands, Panama and many others. So let's go. First and foremost, I want to say that the main rules and strategies all around the world are very similar. Close down schools, recommendations to work from home and to practice social distancing. For this video, I really just picked out some countries and some rules that I thought would be interesting. So let's start with Italy. Italy was the first Western country that went under lockdown, and it was also the first Western country that was really hit hard by the coronavirus. Since 9th March they are under lockdown, and this will continue until at least the 13th of April. In Italy currently, whenever you want to leave your house, you need to print out a certificate stating the reason why you want to leave your house. And that is something that really needs to be necessary. So one of the possible reasons to leave your house currently would be something like grocery shopping. Looking at the statistics, it can be said that these lockdown measures seem to help. The daily new cases are decreasing, but also you gotta say that the current complete active cases at the moment has probably not quite reached its peak yet. One direct neighbor of Italy is Austria. Austria just recently made it obligatory to wear face masks in supermarket. And some of you may say that is not really interesting information, but really, face masks in Europe, that's not a common thing. There's some kind of a stigma around it. I think if I tried to do that in Germany, I would get weird looks, even though there are more and more people like doing that, but I would probably still get weird looks. So it's very uncommon in Europe, unlike in Asia. Speaking of Asia, let's take a look at China. The virus was first detected in Wuhan, and the city and also the whole surrounding province have been under lockdown for the past 2 months. People have been isolated not only with their families but also away from their families. China built hospital in a couple of days, and they provided rapid free testing and technologies to track down positive cases and their contact persons very quickly. Also, not only Wuhan and the surrounding Hubei area were affected by different measurements, but really there was a nationwide response. Cities many hundred kilometers away from Wuhan were affected by different measurements to really stop the spread of the virus through the whole country. Currently, the province Hubei is very slowly loosening the measures it has taken to stop the spreading of the virus, meaning one person at a time from a household is allowed to leave the house for 2 hours at a maximum. Some people are allowed to go to work. The temperature is taken regularly, and all people have to use an app to track down contact person in case there was a positive tested corona case. Currently, the new cases of coronavirus in China are very low. There's a bit of unclearness about the trustworthiness of those numbers, but if they are true, then it can be said that China has really gained back control over the whole coronavirus situation for the moment. Another country that has gained back control for the moment is South Korea. They had a strong outbreak and crisis at the end of February until the beginning of March, and they have gained back control very quickly, even without enforcing a total lockdown of the country. They gained back control by really high amounts of free testing. In fact, they have the second highest rate of testing in the whole world currently. Workers get taken the temperature twice a day, and also South Korea is very strongly tracking activities of positive tested people for the past 14 days. They do that by checking public security cameras, mobile phones and credit cards. Also in Germany, it has been discussed how can we track back contact person of positive tested cases. In Germany, it is not as easy as in South Korea because of data protection and privacy. Therefore, currently, and what is likely to happen is that there will be an app which is voluntarily and anonymously to be used by the citizens of this country. So it's really relying on the trust and responsibility of the citizens. People would be given an anonymous ID, they would anonymously be tracked via Bluetooth, this data would be saved for a while, and if somebody gets tested positive, they would indicate that in the app. This app would forward that information to contact persons who would have to take the own responsibility of going into quarantine or not. Apart from that, Germany is currently not under lockdown. We have a contact ban, meaning that we are not allowed to go out with more than one person who does not belong to our household, and with that person we would have to keep the safety distance of 1.5 meters. Some federal states of Germany have enforced a bit stronger laws on top of that, so for example, Bavaria is a part of Germany which is under lockdown currently, but people are still allowed to go out for a walk or individual physical activity. And this is something that distinguishes them from countries like Spain. Spain is also under lockdown since 14th of March already and until the 12th of April at least. And in Spain it is not allowed for people to go out for a run or a walk or whatever. They are really only allowed to go out to walk their dog, go to the supermarket, things like that, but physical activity is really not included. Of course, people are trying to find their ways around the lockdown. There were some funny methods in the beginning, like you see in this video. I would really not advise to try that now. Also some other methods that really everybody could think of: walk their dog more often than necessary, go to the supermarket more often than necessary. And really, to stop people from doing that, some districts of Spain, really just some, not all of them, have enforced stronger rules. Meaning, for example, people would have to go grocery shopping for a minimum amount of 30 euros or otherwise you could be fined. Currently, at the moment I am filming this video, there is 124,000 confirmed positive cases in Spain for a country with 46 million inhabitants, so that really makes Spain the hardest hit country in terms of the percentage of people that are infected at the moment. Also, and this is really very sad and devastating, there's a lot of people dying in Spain at the moment. Like the amount of people dying versus the amount of people infected, that is very, very high in Spain at the moment. And this is probably one of the reasons why those very strong lockdown rules have been extended for another 2 weeks, because in the first place they wanted to do that for only 2 weeks. I mean, the measurements of the various countries all around the world, they're very different, and you will see that even more in the rest of these videos, but they really always depend on the circumstances, on the society, on the amount of caretakers, on the amount of intensive care beds. I found some numbers for that. Unfortunately, those numbers are from 2012. I couldn't find more recent ones, but it says that there's an average of 11.5 intensive care beds in the EU per 100,000 people, and there's some countries with more intensive care beds, like Germany, and there are some that are below the average, like Spain, for example, with 9.5 intensive care beds, or the UK with 6.6 intensive care beds per 100,000 inhabitants. Speaking of the UK started out the coronavirus measurements with a very, very different strategy. They were going for herd immunity in the beginning. And what does that mean? Herd immunity means that 60 to 70% of the people would have to go through the coronavirus and overcome that disease in order to strongly slow down the spread of the virus in the future. So the UK was in the beginning really telling older people to stay inside. They were telling people who showed symptoms should go into quarantine for a week, and except from that they were more or less continuing normal life. But a couple of days later they changed the strategy, because according to scientists, really there are quite a couple of cases of young people who got hit hard by that disease. So it's really actually very dangerous what they were doing, and now they are working with a strategy that is very comparable to other countries, meaning closing schools, closing shops, advise social distancing, things like that. And this strategy of the UK is really very comparable to the strategy in the Netherlands. They were also starting out with the strategy of wanting to reach herd immunity quickly, but changed that as well. In the Netherlands, currently all events are cancelled until the 1st of June. Also, all unnecessary gatherings, with a few exceptions, are cancelled, meaning funerals, weddings and religious gatherings with up to 30 people are still allowed. Also, groups of children until the age of up to 12 years are allowed to normally play together under the supervision of their parents, but the parents, they would have to keep their safety distance of at least 1.5 meters. Continuing on with the US, they're currently the country with the highest amount of daily new cases, and they are a bit behind everything that happened in Europe. So in the middle of March, there were people in Florida still celebrating spring break, and now there are federal recommendations of social distancing at least until the end of April. New York is currently the city with the highest amount of cases, meaning 113,000 confirmed cases at the moment I am filming this video. The US is currently working on offering more and more free tests in state laboratory, but with this amount of new rising cases, they're currently very overrun. Going back to Europe and taking a look at Sweden, we will see that the situation in Sweden is very, very different. At the moment, they are really going an individual way, which is really not comparable to anything that other European countries are doing at the moment. Life in Sweden at the moment is, well, not normal, but like much more normal than life in any other European country at the moment. Gatherings with more than 50 persons are cancelled at the moment. Also, school for everybody above 16 is cancelled, but schools for children under the age of 16 remain open. Sweden just really relies on the responsibility of the citizens to do the right thing. Meaning they make that a question of mentality, responsibility and society. Also, Belarus is a country where normal life just continues as it used to be. They are going as far as normal sports events just continue to take place. That makes the Belarus Football League the last one playing in Europe. I'm quoting the president here, Mr. Lukashenko, who says, "There are no viruses here. You haven't seen them flying around, haven't you?" Last but not least, the last country for this video is Panama, another country under lockdown, and this is again a very, very strong lockdown, meaning basically that people are only to go out for very necessary things. But even more than that, on Sunday nobody gets to go out because Sunday is considered a family day, and for the remaining 6 days women get to go out on 3 specific days and men get to go out on 3 specific days. They are allowed to go out for maximum 2 hours at a time, as I said, for really, really necessary things, and those 2 hours that they are allowed to go out depend on the last numbers of their ID. So that's that for a quick look around the world and the measurements taken in different countries all around the world. Tell me about the situation in your country, about the decisions taken in your country. Are you happy with them? Are you okay with life at the moment? Do you think the government of your country is doing the right thing? Tell me in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to give a thumbs up for this video if you enjoyed watching it and subscribe to this channel, because I'm really thinking about making this all around the world thing a series. So if you think that is a good idea, tell me in the comments down below as well. And I really, really hope to see you in one of my next videos, guys. Stay safe, stay home. Hasta luego and bye.